doing Roth conversion has always been an important strategy for many of us in order to minimize our taxes later in life. And coming up with these strategies has never been easy, but it's gotten even more complicated now. And so in today's video, I want to share what you need to know, whether you're in retirement, whether you're 5 years away, or frankly, even if you're 30 or 40. Because the sooner you start to think about these Roth conversions, the more alternatives that you have. You can start saving money in different buckets: regular IRAs, Roth IRAs, and then traditional taxable accounts. So let's jump in and talk about what's changed. It's unfortunately a little complicated, so I found a great article that makes it as simple as possible to talk about the high level issues. The article is from thestreet.com. The title of the article is "One Big Beautiful Bill Act Makes Roth Conversions More Complicated." And the article quotes two people. I want to give them credit. They're Keebler and Associates partner Robert Keebler and Jim Magner, who's an advanced planning attorney at the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. I think they've got some great quotes here. So I want to make sure I give them credit for that. And the first quote is, "While Roth conversions will continue to be a cornerstone of first-class planning, the impact of both the senior and the SALT deductions, as well as the phase outs, should be modeled." Okay, let's start with the first one, the new senior deduction with a catch. So people 65 and older have always gotten an additional standard deduction. And on top of what they've always had, it's now increased by another $6,000. And that's one of the headline provisions. So a couple that's 65 and older, they get a $12,000 additional deduction. But the article importantly points out it comes with a phase out. The deduction is reduced to zero, the additional deduction, between 150,000 and 250,000 of modified adjusted gross income. And you may think, you know what, Azul, I'm never going to hit those numbers. But when you do a Roth conversion, you can trigger a lot of ordinary income tax and very easily get into these areas. So this is important for all of us. Okay, they give an example. A $100,000 Roth conversion, if it pushes your modified adjusted gross income to 250,000, could not only trigger the 22% income tax rate, but it could also wipe out that senior deduction. The quote from these two gentlemen is, "At first glance, it appears a $100,000 conversion would generate additional federal tax of $22,000, just at 22%. However, the actual result is an increase in federal tax of $24,640, with the additional taxes being the loss of the senior deduction." And they go on to say, in some cases, it may be smarter to convert earlier, before age 65, to lower the modified adjusted gross income and preserve the eligibility for the senior deduction. So that's a really important tidbit. Now, none of this is financial advice. I want to put this article, I want to put this issue on your radar screen. You can read the article for yourself at the website. Just look up the title of the article. But there's another important item here, which is um, the revised SALT deduction, which is the state and local taxes. Roth conversions are taxes or at ordinary income at the federal and state level. And under the Tax Cuts and Job Act of 2017, state income became largely not deductible, increasing the cost of conversions for taxpayers in high tax states. The One Big Beautiful Act changes that by raising the SALT and local tax deduction cap to $40,000, which can reduce the effective burden on the conversions. And for some, this conversion is attractive as long as they stay below that SALT cap. And the quote from these two gentlemen is, "A planner may consider limiting Roth conversions in such a way to avoid exceeding that $40,000 SALT limitation." But there's a stealth tax that we all need to know about. Before we go there, I want to just share how important it is to do planning. And the reason is, for things like this, you really can save yourself Many people can save themselves tens of thousands of dollars by thinking through their tax impact. And the gold standards to work with an accountant, to work with a fiduciary financial advisor. I know a lot of my audience want to know, how can I do this on my own? If you want to do it on your own, I urge you, don't use Google Sheets, don't use Excel to do something like this. It's just too complicated. It's too easy to make a mistake. Use financial planning software designed to help you plan for your retirement and think through issues like this. There's several different providers. They're all super affordable. The software that I like used to be called New Retirement. It's now called Bolden. You can sign up for it at this QR code here. I am an affiliate, so you'll be supporting the channel. But importantly, Bolden is not just for retirement planning, it's financial planning throughout your life so you can think about issues like this. And frankly, Bolden is really good at what's called scenario planning, trying out, do we do a Roth conversion? Do we not? And what's the impact? Again, you can sign up for it at the QR code here and or in the link in the description and support the channel. Okay, let's talk about this SALT phase out, the stealth tax hike. The SALT deduction, however, comes with its own phase out for high earners. Taxpayers with a modified adjusted gross income of over $500,000 face a 30% phase out of the SALT deduction on income exceeding that threshold. And by the time the modified adjusted gross income hits $600,000, the deduction shrinks back to the statutory floor of $10,000. So they're about to give an example here. But remember, even if you're thinking, hey, I don't make that kind of money, remember that the Roth conversion itself converts over and triggers ordinary income on that conversion. So you may find yourself in this. So here's the example that they give. Randy and Sarah have a modified adjusted gross income of $500,000 and itemized deductions of $75,000, including a $40,000 SALT deduction. So that's the example. They execute a Roth conversion of $100,000, which pushes their modified adjusted gross income now up by $100,000. Instead of $500,000, it's now $600,000. And as a result, their SALT deduction is slashed to $10,000. Translation, their income went up by $100,000, but their taxable income, the income that they're going to pay tax on, went up by $130,000 because they lost the extra $30,000 is because their SALT deduction went from $40,000 down to 10. So their taxable income only went up by 100,000, but I'm sorry, their income only went up by 100,000, but their taxable income actually went up to $130,000. And if you assume they're in the 35% marginal tax bracket, believe it or not, the effective rate on that $100,000 conversion is 45.5%. So as you can see, these numbers matter. Again, this is not financial advice. Read the article for yourself, work with an accountant, work with a financial advisor. The numbers are big enough, they're important enough to do that, or use software designed for you. Again, the software that I like is called Bolden. You can get it here. And if you enjoyed this video, another really important question for all of us to give deep thought to is when we choose to retire. I would argue that's more important than minimizing your taxes. How to maximize your life and optimize on life. You can see that video here. Thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye.